Hey there, guys. I'm Tim. I'm one of the founders of CalcTree, and in this video, I'm just going to be doing a walkthrough of some of the key features of the CalcTree platform. Okay, so welcome to CalcTree, guys. So when you sign up for the first time to CalcTree, you'll be met with this page here. I'll just draw your attention to three main areas in the application. So on the left-hand side here, at the top, here you can access our changelog. You can access public templates, which I'll show you a bit more about later. And you can also add new users to your workspace and adjust the settings of the workspace as well, and settings of members. And up here, you can actually jump between different workspaces that you have access to. Under the projects branch here, this is where you can navigate between different pages in your workspace. So we've set you up with the welcome package. So under here, you have pages explaining the basics of CalcTree, how to build with Python, integrate with our API, and also build with spreadsheets and natively building your first formula. Under here, we have some templates that we've built for you. So these are pre-built calculations using spreadsheets, Python, and native CalcTree, which gives you a flavor for the different tools that you can build in the platform. And then we also have a sample project to give you a sense for how to join pages together and link things together across pages on CalcTree. So in the middle here, this is the page environment. So this is, right now, we're in the welcome page. And in here, you can actually edit elements, the welcome page. I'll show you more of that in a bit. And on the right-hand side is your integrations pane, where you can add spreadsheets, Python scripts to power up your calculations. So next, I'll show you how to create a new page and show you how to add calculation elements to that page. Cool. All right. So to create a new page on CalcTree, there's several ways to do it. The easiest way is on the left-hand side here, clicking on Add New Page, this plus button here. And then that will take you to your new page. First thing to do is add a title, a new page. After adding a title, you can add page elements. So to add new page elements, all you need to do is type / and that will open up this command menu here. Within this, you can add certain page elements to your page. So you can add headings. You can add LaTeX equations, some samples that we've already built for you here, and those guys here. You can add toggle blocks, which is a nifty way to organize your page. So you can actually click and drag and move other elements into the toggle. Or I can add completely fresh elements to that toggle and do a list, and so on. So that's how you start to build up elements on your page. You can also add things like images, checkboxes, subpages, and also columns to organize your page a bit more as well. Okay, so now that you have a sense for how we add different elements to a page, let's have a look at how we can add calculation elements to our pages. Okay, so there's three main ways to add calculation functionality to a CalcTree page. The first is with native CalcTree parameters. So I'll just create a heading here, native parameters. To add native parameters and calculations to your page, simply click / to open up the command menu, and then select parameter field or inline parameter. Both function the same, but look slightly different. So if we click parameter field, we've now added a parameter to the page. I can give this guy a title. Let's go native param1. Then by tabbing over to the value, I can now give this a value. 10, let's give it units as well. So now we've registered native param1 as 10 meters. So now what we can do is we can add another parameter here. Call this native param2. And in this field, I can go equals again, but rather than just set a constant, I'm actually going to refer to the other native parameter I just created. So we'll search for that just by typing. And that will come up here. And I can see native parameter 1. Now, just to note here that CalcTree is actually returning other values here as well. So what it's doing is it's actually searching the entire workspace for different values that match what I've typed, native, and returning the closest one to the top, and preferencing this page as well. And that's why I'm setting native parameter 1, 10 meters at the top. So if I click that, now you can see that it's registered as a pill here. Now I can perform an operation on native parameter 1, and I'm just going to go times 10 again. Now that's going to execute, and we can see that native parameter 2 is equal to 10 times native parameter 1, which is 100 meters in this case. Also to note, you can actually adjust the units quite simply just by going to whatever unit you want to change it to. So I've written 2 millimeters, so enter. Now you can see that native parameter 2 is still returning 10 times native parameter 1, but rather than returning it in meters, which would be 100 meters, it's returning 100,000 millimeters. Pretty simple example, guys, but that's how you can start to build logic and mathematics with native parameters in CalcTree. Okay, guys, so let's move on to the second way of adding calculation functionality to our CalcTree page. And this one is by integrating a spreadsheet. So I'm just going to add another heading here. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to add a spreadsheet to our page. I'm going to go over to the right-hand side into our integrations pane, select add here, and then select spreadsheet. So this will bring up a dialog for me to navigate through my desktop environment to find the spreadsheet I want to integrate. Okay, so I'm now uploading a basic spreadsheet, it's called. And what CalcTree would do is it's going to show that spreadsheet as well as the sheets within it on the right-hand side here. And it's also going to give me a view into the source, or a source view as we call it, in the bottom of the page here. So right at the bottom here, I'm actually looking at what I would see in that spreadsheet if I were to open it on my desktop. So we can see in this sheet, the area sheet, we're just performing a simple calculation, multiplying length by width to create area. Also in this spreadsheet, we have a beam schedule, which is linked to a chart here as well. Okay, so back in our area tab, we're going to add these cells and these parameters to our page. So to do that, all we need to do, simply click on the cell that we want to map as a parameter in CalcTree and click the plus button. So now that cell length, or B1 representing length, that's now represented by this parameter in CalcTree, and it's shown up on the right-hand side here as it's marked in green. So I'm also going to add the width value. That's on our page. And I'm also going to add the output, in this case, area. Okay, so CalcTree's recognize that both length and width are inputs, i.e. they do not have a function in the spreadsheet. They have a constant value. And so it's highlighted them white, and we can actually edit them in the CalcTree page. So if I select this guy and make it 10, that will actually execute, and we can see that area value has updated in our CalcTree page, and it's also updated in the spreadsheet itself. We can see that this output value, as indicated by being gray, is linked to that value in the spreadsheet because it tells us the source here in the parameter dialog. And also by clicking on the parameter, CalcTree will show us in the spreadsheet where that parameter comes from and what cell it's linked to. Okay guys, so now let's jump back over to the beam schedule, and I'll show you how to add a table and charts to your CalcTree page. So back in the beam schedule here, to add this table to our CalcTree page, all you need to do is select the area that you want to turn into a table, in this case our full beam schedule. Click the little plus button that appears in the bottom right. So CalcTree now creates a table parameter, which contains all the cell values from that area selection in the spreadsheet. And I can actually interact with that table in CalcTree. And that will send those updated values to my spreadsheet here as well. Now, if I want to add my chart here, on the right-hand side, I just need to navigate to the sheet drop-down in the right-hand side pane. Click and drag that chart into the page area. So now CalcTree has added that chart as a linked element to this table. So now if I change this value to 1000, we'll see that the chart updates live in the page, and in the spreadsheet, that update will be reflected as well. Just click back over the beam schedule. You can see that area for B1 has increased as well in the Excel version of this chart as well. Okay, guys, let's get into the third way to create calculation functions in a CalcTree page. That is with Python. So let's add a new section here, Python. So to add Python code to our page, what we do is go over to the integrations pane here, click the plus button, select code. Now CalcTree will add an empty Python script to our page. So that will appear in the source view at the bottom of the page here. So I'll just remove this information, which just gives you some insight about how to learn to use this tool a bit more. I'll move that from our script, so we don't need it for this one. Now I'm going to add some pretty basic Python code. Just going to do our area calculation again. Length equals 10. Width equals 5. Then I'm going to define a new area parameter equals length 1 times width 1. Okay, so we'll see that CalcTree has now recognized these Python variables and mapped them as parameters in the right-hand side here. So we can actually drag them onto the page and integrate them with the rest of our page blocks as well. Okay, so we'll note that these are both grayed out, so I can't actually edit these values. That's because they're mapped to predefined variables in Python. So if I wanted to make it so this length value was a variable, and I could adjust information here in the page that would feed into our calculation, the way to do that is, I'm just going to remove this guy. I'm going to set up a new parameter here and call this one length param pi. Okay, I'm going to set this guy to 5. So now what I can do is go back into our code here. I'm going to leave our definition of length 1, but I'm going to search for our new parameter that we just put in our page. You'll see that length param pi comes up in the suggestions in the code editor here. I can tab down to that and click enter. And now this length 1 value is defined by whatever's in this length param pi value, which in this case is 5. So now CalcTree is executing this Python script, and it's sending this 5 into our area 1 calculation and returning 25, which is width 1, 5 times 5 from the length param pi. And that's how to add a simple Python script to a CalcTree page. All right, so now that we've taken a look at building calculations and adding content to pages, I'm just going to show you how to use your pages and your calculations outside of CalcTree. So there's several ways to share CalcTree outside of the platform. One way is to click the print button up here, which allows you to print to PDF. The other is to use the share functionality here. So clicking the share button here, you'll be met with this dialog. Clicking this toggle here allows you to create a private share link, which you can then give to others and they can access a read-only version of the page. Publishing your page will publish your page to the broader internet, and your page will end up in the community section of our public template library. You can also add members to your workspace. So by clicking into the settings and members page, you can invite new users via email to CalcTree, and they'll be prompted to sign up to the platform. And then once in the workspace, they can have access to all these pages that you've built and actually edit them and use them to run calculations. The final way to use CalcTree pages outside of CalcTree is to add an API endpoint to your page. So in the integration pane, if you click the plus button and add an API source, now you'll have this API integration on your page here. This will create a page ID, which you can then copy and use in Python scripts, Grasshopper scripts, or in any other tools that you so wish. Okay, so that concludes our tour of the CalcTree platform for now. If you're interested in learning more about the platform, feel free to sign up and check out some of the welcome pages and the pre-built templates that we provided in the workspace. You could also jump over to our public template library and use some of our calculations for free without having to sign up. And then you can even duplicate some of those calculations into your workspace. Thanks again for taking the time to learn about CalcTree.